What is up, guys? Marcus here, and as promised, the Rondo tutorial. This is actually probably going to be a two-in-one tutorial about how I get my detail in as well. We're going to do kind of a step-by-step thing between the sword and the carbine. And if you hear any peeps throughout the video, my wonderful girlfriend Jessica, say hi, Jess. We love you. We all love you.
Bye.
Okay. Was that focused on you? Okay, I couldn't. You can go away. Okay. I had to redo this video a few times because she's making me laugh saying things like booger. And that brown thing on the floor is my dog. He just walked that way. Anyway, so let me try and get myself together and figure out how to do this in order. First off, all your tools. You got your fiberglass resin, and that looks backwards on the video, but oh well. Your bondo filler, because those are your two parts that make it up, and of course their respective partners. Mixing stick, yeah, that's a ruler, and some wet bondo still on it. Your tool to get your bondo out of the can. And of course your tool to spread it with. Now, yes, I indeed use a paintbrush because it is nice and thin enough to where you can do it. Let's see. Some of your safety includes gloves, not latex. Don't do latex. As it is, these also can disintegrate as well. Your mask, yes, I know some of you are going to belittle my mask. I don't care. And what I found to be very useful, anyway, what I find to be very useful is if you have a running fan on high sitting right next to you. This will, if you can't afford a good mask like me, this will propel all the fumes that way, as well as when you sand, the dust goes that way as well. So, alrighty, let's get started. Oh, actually, one more thing. Two more things. Your container that you're going to mix your bondo in. Now, I have actually made my own measuring situation on this container. If you can find a container like this, it's great because they're flexible, and when the stuff dries, you can break it up and pull it out and keep reusing it. I took, and I don't actually need 4 cups in total, apparently. I have taken a measuring cup and put 2 cups of water in here, and then marked it and put another 2 cups of water on. So that way you can't really tell because it's all smudged away from what I've been using, but mark it on the outside too. That way you can also see it in the light, which you can't really see on video, but that's okay. What? Yeah. My girlfriend works at a restaurant. She brought these containers home. I'm sure your girlfriends aren't quite as giving. They had soup in them too. Awesome. All right, so we're gonna begin. Milo, what are you doing? Get away from the saws. Anyway, all right, so we're gonna put our gloves on. Look, a tutorial and a comedy show all in one. What do you know? Dust off. Put our gloves on. Now, Rondo, if you do not know, is not a product all by itself, as I found out weeks ago. It is actually a mixture of bondo and resin. What are you doing? Killing my dog? Yeah, of course you were. Anyway, so you can always have more bondo than resin. You can never have more resin than bondo, or you're going to be looking at what was in this soup. So you can always have equal parts resin and bondo, or more bondo, less resin. Obviously, less resin, the thicker the solution's going to be. So I usually, in all parts of resin, no matter how little or how lot, I usually just put 20 drops in. It's I can't really explain why I do it, but it usually doesn't harden as fast. Especially if you're working with less resin, you're more worried about how much harder you put in the bondo. Either way, if you're working with less resin, doing a thicker solution, if you want it hotter, you put more of the bondo hardener in because obviously you're working more with the bondo. So, my gloves. Well, that went well. As my Dremel cord falls on the heater cord. So, you're going to want to put your bondo in first because the bondo is the denser of the two. So, we're going to be applying the bondo onto my energy sword, which you can see I have done detail on. Now, as far as detail for pieces go, if you're new at this and want to cut corners or whatever, or even if you're not cutting corners, it's still a great way to put detail on. You just take raw bondo and spread it over where the area you're going to. What I did was I drew lines in with black marker before, so I had some guidelines. So put that right there. All right. Oh, and the last step for your cleaning, what you're gonna want to do, and the great thing about bondo is you can handle it with your fingers. You don't need gloves. If you want gloves, that's fine. I don't care. It's your choice. Anyway, I just use a crap rag to wipe my hands off with the bondo, and then you just have a little bit left. But rag, great for if you have basically any solution that you don't want anywhere. Like if you are doing bondo on an already Rondo piece area, if you get a little bit of bondo on it, just wipe it off. And of course, last but not least, to clean your brush, acetone. It's your best friend, and so is lacquer thinner. Just soak your brush in for a little bit, and then it's not going to permanently clean it, or not clean it all the way. My brush is a little solid at the base, so just take your brush and kind of break it apart. But you won't have this brush forever, so remember to just get 99-cent or cheaper. Actually, you're going to want the 2-inch. 2 inches common size. So let's, oh, good. Safety first, children. Now for the surface of this, oh, let's go with 2 dollops, generous dollops to start with. Oh, actually, take it back, we'll do 3. I think that'll be enough. Alright. Wipe that off there. Alright, there you go. I don't know if you can really see it, but it doesn't take a lot. You can, when you make your Rondo tub, you can make your own different measurements or guidelines, or if you're like me and you can kind of estimate them. It's not an exact science. Well, it is, just not to me. Okay. Get that out of the way. Now you're going to want to put your hardener in. This is also kind of an estimation game. If you work a lot with bondo, then you kind of know have a feeling to guess. But you can see I just put that much in. Then you don't mix it yet. You take your fiberglass resin. Might have been just a tad too much, but that's okay. Basically, you're, again, guesstimating how much you want to put in there by how thick or thin you want your solution to be. Alright, I put 20 drops of the resin hardener in. Now you're going to want to spread it all around. Just do each drop in your location. It makes spreading a lot easier. Alrighty, so now you got that. Now we're going to mix it. Alright, you're going to want to mix it really well, especially the center where the bondo is sitting, or else it's just going to clump on the bottom. Alright, quickly put these down on the floor. Brush, hardeners. Here we go. Alright. Got our mix over there. And now we're going to bring you down here to where I'm at on the bench. Alright, just take your brush and your Rondo solution. And for detail work, you don't want to cover up your details too much. So just lightly, just a very light coat. You're going to have to re-Dremel your detail anyway, but it makes it easier when you're not fighting that. And I'm going to put a coat on the whole sword. Hopefully I made enough Rondo. I'm trying to go kind of fast, not because it's going to set fast, but we're going to run out of time. As need I remind everybody, Facebook is really gay and doesn't allow videos over 20 minutes away. Some of you are probably laughing and nodding your head in agreement. And unfortunately, I did make a little too much. It's a shame for it to go to waste, but what you do if you have any left is you just let it dry up, and then you just flex the container, and it should, if you have something like what I do, and it should just break apart and you just pull it out. Alrighty. We're okay. Alrighty. Just take your your acetone, put it in the container. Oh. And then you just take your brush, kind of smush it in a little bit. Oops. That's a good acetone on the laptop. That's great. Now, like I said, it's not going to be a permanent clean. Your brush will eventually completely harden up, but that's why we get cheap ones, huh? So, just kind of wring it out. Woo! Damn, that stuff burns in the wind. With the fan going on. Damn. Alright. Break that apart. Bring it up. Quickly take that off. Hopefully I haven't forgotten anything thus far. And just throw in the garbage. And, oh, lovely. Alright. Kind of a little close, but we're doing good. Alrighty. And that is a, don't know if you can see it completely Rondo, the first size Rondo. And this is what it'll look like when it's dry. And you'll get your detail still. Like I said, I just put a little bit on this for show for the launch. And then all you do is take your Dremel and you make sure everything's sanded, get your detail out. And yeah, you should be good. So hopefully this tutorial was a lot of help. Mark us out.